Alright, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we're gonna go ahead and actually build out the dashboard layout. So we'll start with I think the sidebar would probably be the best thing to start with first. Okay, so I'm gonna go inside the components folder and I'll create a new folder. I'll just call this misc for miscellaneous because I'm not really sure what category we would put components like a sidebar, navbar, really. So I'll just leave it as under misc. Okay. So we'll start off with a sidebar component. So let's go ahead and create a component called sidebar. And the sidebar component is going to have three child components. It's going to have the Next.js image component, which is what we're going to use to render the actual the guild icon. Okay, we're going to have the second child component will be where we'll have all of the navigation routes. So to go to the main page, to go to the commands page, to go to the settings page, and then the third child will be the logout, the logout icon. And you'll see how I'm going to structure this in a second. So first, I'm going to go ahead and return a div, and I don't think we'll really need to do anything with, like, I don't think for now we'll need any fetching, so I'll just remove the curly braces just to keep this a little bit cleaner. So what we'll do is inside this div, we'll need the image tag that comes from, well, the image component from Next.js. So image, and we're of course going to pass in the source, height, and width. So for height, I'll just do 80. Width, I'll also do 80 as well. And then for the alt tag, for the alt attribute, I'm just gonna do guild avatar for now, because we don't have the icon yet, because we're gonna have to actually fetch this later. So that's why I'm just putting in like a placeholder for now. And for the actual image, I'm actually just going to use a I'm just going to use a local image just for now. So what I'm going to do is just for temporarily, I'm just going to use a picture. I'm just going to use a custom picture of myself, and I'm just going to pass that path in. So you can actually just put in any static asset you want inside this public folder, and you can just serve it very easily. And you can just pass in slash and then the name of the file. So slash me, and that would work just fine. So you don't have to actually, do like, dot slash. You can just do slash me, and it'll treat this as a file that's inside the public folder. Okay. Cool. So now that we have the image, we'll need a section for all of the main navigation icons, and then we'll need one for the logout page, or the logout, not logout page, the logout icon as well. So we actually installed React icons earlier. In case you missed it, we installed React icons. So if you have not installed it, make sure you go ahead and install React icons. Okay. Once you have React icons installed, we can then use it to render out the icons. So let's see. What do I want to do next? Is well, first, let me do this. I'm going to import the icons that I need. So we'll need the, let's see, we'll need the dashboard icon. So that's just going to be md space dashboard. And this comes from React icons md. Okay. And then we'll need the terminal icon. So that's bs terminal. And this comes from React icons bs. And these abbreviations, they're short for like the library that it comes from. I think BS is Bootstrap, and I think MD is Material Design. I think, I'm not too sure, but you can double check that on the React Icons documentation website. And you can also go on the React Icons website and search for all available icons. Okay, and then we'll need FA wrench, which is going to come from React Icons FA, which is short for Font Awesome. All right, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead inside this div over here. So this div is just going to contain all the navigation routes, or the navigation icons. So for example, I'll create another div, and then we're going to go ahead and render the md space dashboard component, or the icon. Well, it is a component. Okay, and then we'll also do the same thing for the other two. So the next one is going to be the BS terminal icon, and then the last one will be FA wrench. All right, And the last icon will be the logout circle. So we actually have to import that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. So imports, and this is going to come from React icons slash RI, which I think is remix icons. So it's going to be RI logout circle line. Okay, and then that is just going to get rendered right down over here. And all we're going to do is when we click on this icon, it's just going to literally just log the user out. Okay, that's all it does. All right, so let's go ahead and take this sidebar and let's try to render it right now. And let's actually see what happens. I'm quite interested to see what it looks like right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, and I'll just import the sidebar. And it's obviously going to look weird right now. Okay, so you can see that the content is popping up, but obviously we haven't added any CSS to it, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go into our code again. Let's go back to the sidebar, and I'm going to go ahead and create an index.module.scss file again. And this is where we will have all of our sidebar and all of our styles for miscellaneous components. So we'll go ahead and create a sidebar class. Okay, and the sidebar is basically going to have a position of fixed, so that way it stays fixed on the left hand side. So we're gonna set position to fixed. Let's set top to 0, left to 0. For the width, I'll set the width to 120 pixels. And then after that, we're gonna set the background color to 121212. The height will be 100%, so that will make sure it goes from top to bottom. So let's take a look at it right now. I'm not sure if you can really tell. Oh yeah, we haven't actually applied the styles yet, so let me do that real quick. Let's go back to sidebar. Let's import styles from index.module.scss, and then we'll take this div, and then we'll apply the class name attribute and pass in styles.sidebar. And if I go back to the page, you can see that we have the sidebar. Perfect. Okay, now after this height, we'll go ahead and set the padding to 24 pixels. Okay, and then finally we'll set display to flex, and we want to set the flex direction to be flex column, so that way all of these elements are underneath each other. But remember, the icon over here, these three icons, and then this icon itself, they're three individual node elements, okay? So we want them to actually be separated. So I want the icon to be up here. I want the navigation icons to be over here in the middle, and then I want the logout icon to be at the bottom. Of course, you can style it however you want, however you prefer, but I actually like it like this, so I'll leave it like that. So I'll set align items to center. So since we actually have flex direction set to column, when we use align items to center, it's going to align it in the middle horizontally rather than vertically. So you can see that if I put it back here, you're going to see that all of the icons are going to be centered. And then because we have flex direction set to column, if we want to have all three of these elements be spaced between, like, vertically, right? So we'll have to just set justify content to space between. And that'll literally just space it out like this. Now, obviously, we're not done yet. We still need to style the icons section. So these three icons over here, because we need to add some spacing because it doesn't really look that great, just like that by default. So what I'll do is I'll create a class called icons, and this will just be like the container for the icons. And we'll set display to flex, and then we'll set flex direction to column. And then we'll set align items to center as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the ampersand sign. And what this will allow me to do is select it basically represents the parent, right? So if I do ampersand, it pretty much means that I'm actually referencing the icons class itself. But I don't want to select the icons class. I want to select everything that's inside the icons class. Okay, or everything that's inside the parent that's using the icons class. And that's literally the beauty of Sass or SCSS. So now we're going to go ahead and select every element that's inside the parent element that has the icons class, and we're just going to add margin top and bottom 50 pixels, left and right 0. And let's see, we have to apply the icons class now. Nice thing about Visual Studio Code, it actually tells you what these rules apply to, like which element, and you can see that it will apply to all elements with the class of icon. So let's go to this div. So this div that's containing all of the icons, we're going to go ahead and set the class name to styles.icons. Okay, and now you're going to see that the icons are spaced out. And the last thing that we'll do, of course, is we'll add a class name for the avatar. So we'll go down here, avatar, and it's just going to have the border radius of 50%. So that way the image is a circle, or at least it looks like a circle. So class name equals styles.avatar. And let's take a look at it. There we go. Okay, pretty straightforward. So now let's go ahead and implement the nav bar, because we just implemented the sidebar. Or I shouldn't really call it a nav bar. I should really call it an app bar instead. Because that's really what it should be called, because this app bar that we're creating, it doesn't have any navigation links. That's what the sidebar is for. So we should really call this an app bar instead. So I'll call it an app bar going forward. Okay, so now for the app bar, what do we want to do here? Well, we're going to go ahead and create another component. So we'll call this app bar. Okay, we're going to have a div. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just literally the only thing that this app bar is going to show is it's just going to show the menu icon. It's going to show the menu text, and it's going to show the guild name. Okay, that's really all it's going to do. It's not going to do anything else aside from that. Okay, it's not. You can add additional stuff too. Like let's say, for example, if you want to add tabs or something, you could do that, but I'm not going to do that for now. All right, so how do you want to set this up? So the first thing that we'll do for this app bar is we're just going to create a couple of styles. So what I'll do is I'll set the class name to be styles.appbar. And excuse me if I accidentally call it a nav bar. I'm really just using nav bar and app bar interchangeably. So that's what I really mean when I say nav bar. If I say it by accident, I really just mean app bar. So let's use the same index.module.scss file. We'll have to go back into that file and create an app bar class. And we're going to set the same attributes for the background color. So the background color will be the same color. We're going to have display of flex, align items center, and then justify content space between. And then the height is going to be 120 pixels. And then we'll set the padding. So no padding on the top, but left and right will be 40 pixels. And then I'm going to have a paragraph tag inside the app bar. So I'll just go ahead and use this nested rule and set the font size of the text to be 20 pixels. And let's go ahead and go to our app bar now. Okay, and let's just see. Let's see. So right now it doesn't have anything because we aren't rendering it. So let's go back to the layout now. Okay, so we have to go back to our layout, and the way that we're going to render the sidebar and a nav bar is like this. So we're going to have the sidebar, and then after the sidebar, we're going to have a div, and this div is going to render out the actual nav bar, app bar. Okay, and inside of this div, we're going to actually add the children. Okay, the child node. And then for this div, we're actually going to add some styling for this. We're going to add a custom CSS that will give it a height based off of 100% subtracted by the height of the app bar. And we also need to set the margin left to whatever size or whatever width the sidebar is, because right now if you see over here, if you look closely, you can see that this dashboard page over here, it's being covered by the sidebar. And the reason why is because the sidebar has a position of absolute or position of fixed, right? So it's going to go on top of it. And to fix this, we can just set the margin of the actual overall page to whatever the width is from the left hand side, the width of the sidebar. Excuse me. So, for example, the width of the sidebar is 120 pixels. So we're going to set the margin of this div to be the margin left to be 120 pixels. And the reason why we're doing the div is because we have both the app bar and the actual page that's being rendered out in this dashboard layout. So that's the reason why we're setting it to this div. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this first. Let's go ahead and go back to our index.module.scss file. And we're going to go ahead and create a layout class. I'll do this all the way at the top. And the height, for now, I'll leave it 100% just to show you what it's going to look like. But I'll show you what's going to happen if we set the margin left to 120 pixels. So now let's go ahead and import styles from, let's see. Oh, wait, we actually have to import this from MISC. You know what? I'll just do that so I don't have to create another file again. I wonder if we can actually pass styles as props. That'd be quite interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and pass in class name, styles.layout, and let's refresh. And you can see now the page, like the margin is shifted to, the margin is set to 120 pixels from the left. So that's why this dashboard page is now moved from the left to right by 120 pixels. But we still have this this scroll bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to set the height to be 100% minus 120 pixels. And the 120 pixels is just going to be the height of the app bar. Okay? So you can see that this is what the page looks like. We're not done yet, though, because we still have a lot of stuff to do with the app bar. So let's go back real quick. Okay? So what else do we have to do? Well, we have to actually go back to the app bar, and we need to add the menu icon. Okay, and that icon is just going to allow the user to actually go back to the menu page so they can select a different guild. Okay, so we'll create a div, and I'm going to import an icon from React Icons, Remix Icon. And the icon is going to be called RI menu 3 line. Okay, and then we'll just render that out. The size of this will be 65 for now. And then we'll add a p tag menu, and let's take a look at what it looks like. That's what it looks like. We haven't added any styling to the menu, so we'll go ahead and do that. So let's go back to the index.module.scss file inside the MISC folder. And let's go down, and we'll just go ahead and add a menu class. And then all it's going to have is display of flex, because we want those two elements. We want the icon and the paragraph tag to be next to each other, and we'll also align the items to be center. Okay, and let's take a look at it now. Well, first let's just apply the styles to this div. So class name equals styles.menu. There you go. And I do want some margin. I do want some spacing in between these two elements. So I'll just go ahead and add margin at the last, for the last element. So what I'll do is I'll just do colon last child margin left 24 pixels. Okay, and make sure this is a Sass file. Okay, because with the nesting and stuff, it needs to be done in Sass. Okay, and there you go. So now we have the menu icon. So what we're gonna do later is when we click on this, it's gonna take us back to the menu page. We'll do that later when we actually configure the routes. Okay, like configure these icons as well. We'll do that later. All right. So the last thing that we'll do is we'll go back to the app bar, and all the way on the right hand side is where the guild name should be displayed. So for now, I'll just hard code it to be Anson's Discord. Okay. and it's going to show up there. And the reason why it's showing up all over there is because for the app bar, we have display of flex and we have justify content set to space between. So it's going to space these two elements all the way out. And yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much it. Okay, so right now we have the main dashboard page and it has this layout, right? And if I were to go ahead and create another page and apply this layout to it, it would also work as well. So let me just show you that very, very quickly, and then we will end the video right here. So I'm going to go back to the ID folder, and I'll create a file, call it commands.tsx. Okay, and what Next Router will do is it will take the name of this file that's inside the ID folder, that's inside the dashboard folder, and it's going to map that to an actual route. So to actually visit this page, we actually have to go to /dashboard, / and then the ID, so the guild ID, and then /commands. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this whole code from the index.tsx file, and let me remove this next page import because we're not using that anymore. We're using next page with layout instead. And let me call this commands page. Commands page. And it's just going to do the same thing where we are going to attach this function to the get layout property. And then inside _app.tsx, it'll be able to get the actual function. Okay, and if that function's not there, it's not going to render a layout at all. Okay, it will just render it normally. So now I can go to /dashboard /1 /commands, and you're going to see that I have commands page and I have the same exact layout. If I remove this entirely, and if I refresh, you're going to see that the layout is completely gone. I don't see the navigation bar or the sidebar and the app bar. Okay, so just wanted to show that very quickly so that you understand like why layouts are good. So that's going to be pretty much it for this whole video. And what we're going to do in the next video is we'll configure all the routes. So that way when we click on, let me refresh real quick. So that way when I click on this icon, it will take me to the main page, which is just /dashboard and then the ID. And then if I click on the terminal icon, it'll take me to the commands page. And if I click on settings, it'll take me to the settings page. If I click on this menu icon, it'll take me to the menu page. That's going to be what we'll do in the next video. So I'll see you all in the next episode. Peace out.